before the semester starts. Students might live with just one roommate, or there might be 3 or 4 students living in the room or the apartment. Almost no students have a single room during their first year. And that's a good thing because you want to have a roommate, you want to be connected with someone else during that first year experience. Some students called their building, the building a dorm, but most people on campus, we refer to it as a residence hall. Now, a residence hall could be have all first year students. It could have a mix of first year students and second year students. Most buildings have men and women, but on different floors or split by corridors. And then a few rooms have their own bathroom, but most rooms on campus share a bathroom in the common space in the hallway. And there are men's restrooms and women's restrooms. Most buildings have between 100 and 300 residents. So there are some universities in the United States where there's these huge towers and there's 800 or 1,000 people in them. And we don't have any of those. We have smaller facilities, which helps us build community. And most of them are arranged around a quad like this picture you see in the middle of the screen. In your third and fourth year, most students move off campus to the Oxford community, either into an apartment or a house. Usually 4 to 8 people find a rental together and they sign leases during their second year. Do not sign a lease for your third year when you get here, in your first year. Now, the landlords on campus, the off-campus landlords, are going to really try to get you to sign a lease now for your house and your apartment in 2 years, and it's too soon. You'll have time in the future to sign a lease and get a good place off campus for your third year, so don't do that. Okay. So let's continue with living on campus. These are examples of some of our residence halls. We've got a mixture of older residence halls. We've got older halls that have recently been renovated, and we've got a few brand new buildings. And there are different costs to live in different buildings. And all of this is listed on Miami's website. Go to miamioh.edu/housing, and that'll take you to the website that lists this. In total, we have 40 residence halls on campus. So there will be a lot for you to choose from for your second year. All of our halls for new students offer programming to help them with their transition to college. You should have already selected your living learning community on your housing contract. These housing options are based on themes such as environmental awareness or global connections or leadership. And this places students together with similar interests. Our staff right now are finishing the placement process based mostly on your living learning community choice. In some living learning communities, residents will take a class together, and all living learning communities have programs focused on their topic. In late July or early August, you'll be notified about the hall you'll be living with via your Miami University email account. So start to look for that in your Miami email at the end of July, and you'll be able to log in. Okay, a few examples of residence hall rooms. You can see different types of furniture in this room. Each room has a bed, a dresser, a desk. Some will have a built-in closet, while others have a freestanding wardrobe in which you can hang your clothes. People arrange their furniture in many different ways, and some beds can be lofted or bunked. People also vary in how much they decide to decorate. These are things that you talk with your roommate about before you arrive. You can go very simple. You see, the room on the left is very simple. They've got the furniture and their personal belongings. And then you see on the right, these students have really decorated their room, and you're not required to do either or. You can choose what you do. You should note that the beds are extra long twin size beds. It's an unusual size for the United States, and I imagine it would be unusual for your home country. So we recommend that you wait until you get to the US to buy your bed sheets. There's going to be a trip the first weekend, or the first day you arrive, out to a store that has very inexpensive sheets that you can buy for your bed, so they fit perfectly. If you have an American roommate, as many of you will, you'll arrive on campus before them. So out of respect, just make sure you're in contact with your roommate about your plans to rearrange the furniture before you make changes to the room. All this stuff can be moved around, and you'll want to talk with your roommate before you do that. Both of you should agree to the changes before you move anything around. And you should also make sure that your room is clean when they arrive. You'll all be arriving as much as a week in advance. And you don't want the room to be messy when they move in a week later. Again, if you've got questions about any of this, just post them. Let's talk a little bit about roommates. You know, living on campus is a special part of the college experience in the US. It's a way for students to make new friends, to learn from students who have different experiences, and to find study partners. A lot of international students have some concerns about having an American roommate, but just know this is an important part of your experience. When you get here, when you and your roommate are together, you will fill out a roommate agreement together. It'll be early in the week, so you can agree on all the rules for your room. And then after that, we just encourage two things: mutual respect and good communication. Now, the good communication can be difficult because of your language skills or because of where they're from and where the American student is from in the United States. It can vary. You've just got to keep trying. It's really important that you talk to each other and set that precedent right up at the beginning. Sometimes I'll meet with international students midway through the semester and I'll say, how many of you have a regular conversation with your roommate? And unfortunately, some say, no, I don't. And that's a problem. You should have a regular conversation with your roommate all the time. Every day, there should be some conversation. All of the roommate assignments are based on mutual living, learning, community interests. And you'll find out who your roommate is in July. That same email will have the link to our system where you'll be able to see who your roommate is. And that's the email that comes at the end of July, early August. If you have an American roommate, they'll probably write to you at your Miami email address, which I know can be difficult for you to access, some of you. So we encourage you to write to your new roommate because you'll have their email address. Write an email to them and share with them your local email address, the one that you prefer to use. Getting to know each other a little bit before you arrive can be really helpful. So I encourage you to do that. As soon as you find out who your roommate is, send them an email, introduce yourself, and that will be a great start to the relationship. Now, there's some staff that are going to help you in the residence hall. Here are some photographs of the residence life staff. These are the staff in my office. Every residence hall has staff living in the building to help students adjust to college and oversee health and safety in the building. An RA, or a resident assistant, you can see a group of them on the left side of your screen. They are students. They're also students like you, just upper class students. They live on the floor and they're very accessible to you. They help new students make the transition from high school to college. They plan special events and they help you solve any problems that you have along the way. They also have a resident director. That picture on the right shows all of our resident directors on campus. And they are a professional staff member or a graduate staff member, and they supervise the RAs. They also live and have an office in your building, so they are very accessible to you. If you have any problems or questions as you settle in, your RA is a good place to start to get some answers. And you'll also receive an email to your Miami email account. You'll receive an email from your resident director in early August before you get here. Look out for that, and they will, so you can know what's going on in the building. They're going to introduce themselves and the staff. All right, dining on campus is a big question for everyone. Every residential student is required to have a meal plan that permits them to eat in any of the dining facilities on campus. We have many all over campus, and you can eat at any one using your meal plan. Meal plans include both swipes, which gets you into a dining hall. We have kind of two types of dining halls. One where you just swipe and get in and you can choose anything you want. And you can go back as many times. You see a picture of that on the left where those students are sitting, and behind them is where they get their food, and they can go up as much as they want with one swipe. And then we have a la carte facilities where you pick exactly what you want and you swipe and pay for exactly that. And to pay for that, you use your declining balance. So your meal plan has a number of swipes per week and a declining balance that you can use throughout the semester. The declining balance acts like a debit card that's preloaded with dining funds for students to purchase individual items. Now, this is all tied to your ID card, which we're going to talk about more in a minute. So you just need to swipe your ID to pay. And there's a wide range of food in the dining halls, including sandwiches, pizza, salads, hamburgers, stir fry, pasta, and much more. We also serve Chinese food, but it's really more Chinese American, so it will not be the same as home. Every now and then they'll serve pho in the dining hall, and it's good, but it's not like pho in Vietnam, I can just guarantee you. There are also many restaurants in Oxford where students can choose to eat using their own money, and Oxford now has several Chinese restaurants uptown. Students also have the option to put money on an account called Moolah. And Moolah, which is a separate account, but it's on the same card, and it can be used for laundry machines, vending machines, photocopy machines, the campus store, and other places around campus. That's all for either vending or other non-food items on campus. Now, if you're not in the mood for eating at a dining hall, each of the residence halls has a kitchen with an oven and a stove and a large refrigerator. And you'll also have a refrigerator in your room that you share with your roommate. And you can go and use that kitchen anytime you want. You just have to remember to clean up after yourself, because these are public kitchens and everyone in the building wants to use the kitchen. So you can't leave your dishes, you can't leave a mess there, because you want it to be clean when you show up and they want it to be clean when they show up. All right, let's move on to the Miami ID card I mentioned. Upon arrival, you'll immediately be given your Miami ID. And your Miami ID does many things. It is what we use to get into the residence halls, the exterior doors. There's no keys. We don't give you any hard keys. You only use your ID card, and you swipe it at the door and it opens the door. You use that to get into your room as well. It's your card matches the access for your room, and you can get into your room. You use your Miami ID for your dining hall and for Moolah when you're at the vending machine or at the laundry machine. You use it to get into the rec center for playing basketball or working out or doing a yoga class. You use it if you want to check out a book or a computer or something at the library. You use your ID. If you want to attend athletic events, to get into the hockey games, the basketball games, the football games, the women's volleyball games, you need to use your ID. Athletic events and then vending, I've already mentioned. So that's your ID. Now, there's something very important about your ID. You see this picture doesn't have a picture of anybody in it. It's got this black silhouette. And we want your picture to be in there. The only way you can be issued an ID is if we have your picture on the system. And there's two ways you can do it. There's the easy way and there's the difficult way. The easy way is for you to upload your ID right now. Take a picture of yourself or get someone to take a picture of you and upload it to our system right now. Here are the instructions. You do it to upload it. Just go to the link ID card, and you're going to submit your photo through the housing portal. If you don't do that, then you got to do it the hard way, which is you get here, your ID is not ready, and you have to go to the Campus Services Center, a separate building, and they'll take your picture, and then you'll get your ID. It's so much faster for you to come here, and it's already done. And we're going to be checking. So we want you to upload your picture. Many of you have already done that already, and we're real happy for that. And we want everyone else, if we can get everybody to have their ID uploaded, their photo uploaded, that would be very helpful. All right, a little bit about shopping in Oxford. Very little bit. We're going to provide you with some opportunities for you to shop during your orientation to get items that you need. So on your arrival day, we're going to get a free bus trip out to our Walmart, which is a big store that has a lot of different things. And you'll be able to purchase necessities. It's a good opportunity for you to get your bed sheets, pillows, and other items for your room, even before you sleep the first night. In addition to this, there'll be other trips throughout orientation and throughout the semester that will go to local shopping malls. We have a big international supermarket a month, about a half hour, 45 minutes away. And there'll be trips there. And to learn about these trips, you should pay attention to your email newsletters that are sent from the International Student and Scholars Office. There's several places for students to purchase groceries in Oxford. We have a Kroger. You see that on the left. That's a big grocery store, and that's on our bus line. And it's maybe a 15-minute walk from campus. But a lot of people will walk, and a lot of people will hop on the bus to get to Kroger. And they have some international foods, and there's also a small Asian market across the street from Kroger, also very accessible. And our Walmart, you'll see that first day, also has a food section, and there's a bus that takes you out to Walmart as well. You can also purchase computers through Miami University through our shop on campus. So if you're going to be buying a new computer for college, you might want to wait until you get to the US. And the advantage is when you buy a computer from Miami, it's already set up to work with Miami software and Miami logins. And if it breaks, you can get a loaner from them and you can buy the insurance through Miami. All right, I'm cruising on. I've covered a lot and I've got more to go. Welcome weekend is the first weekend that everybody is here, international students and American students. So after you arrive, about a week later, the American students will arrive. And then during the weekend before classes start, we hold something called Welcome Weekend. It's during this weekend that you'll attend several required events, and there are a lot of optional events that you can participate in. And all international students are strongly encouraged to participate in these events. We'll have Convocation, which involves everybody, and the president will speak, and the president of the student council, the student body will speak. And we'll have an event where you learn our fight song and you get to meet our football coach. We'll have residence hall meetings that are required. You should absolutely go to your residence hall meetings. And then there'll be some educational programs for everybody to attend. There'll be the fire safety fair is required for everybody on campus. This is so you learn about fire safety in the residence halls. And then there'll be a lot of campus activities and social events that weekend. While we're talking about this, involvement in that first weekend is important, and involvement all semester is very important. And we know that getting involved in campus, in addition to your classes, is an important part of the college experience at American universities. Miami has a lot of great opportunities, but you must take advantage of them. We're not going to sign you up for an activity. You have to find what you're interested in and go and join that activity. They're not required, but they do help. We know that students who are involved on campus feel more connected to campus. They're more likely to persist and succeed in campus, and they have a higher GPA. Students who are involved in student organizations have a higher GPA than those that don't participate. So there's several ways for you to get involved on campus, including your community leadership team, which is a student organization in your residence hall. And they'll start meeting right up. And as soon as you move in, you can sign up and say, yes, I'd like to participate in the community leadership team. They do events in the residence hall. They do meetings with the resident director, and it's a good, tight group of people in the residence halls. In addition to that, during the first weekend after classes begin, we'll host something called Mega Fair. You see this picture at the bottom of your screen? That's Mega Fair. It's hundreds of student organizations, all the upper class students who are here representing the student organizations, and you get a chance to meet them and see what activities there are and sign up and get involved that way. And you can also look for all of our registered student organizations by logging into the hub. And you see the address for the hub there, miamioh.edu/hub. And you can see all of our student organizations there. You can search by topic or by area of interest. A lot of students will participate in intramural sports as well, and those will be organized through your residence hall, or you can sign up through intramurals and just get onto a team. So involvement is very important. Okay, I've just covered a lot of stuff with campus life and involvement and living on campus. We're going to continue. Keep posting your questions in the chat and we'll answer them at the end. So for community and policies, we want to talk a little bit about the city of Oxford. We've talked about campus. Now let's talk a little bit about the city of Oxford. As I said earlier, Oxford is a small town that's easy to get around in and is very safe as long as students practice common sense. You make good basic decisions. And while there is some crime, they're typically crimes of opportunity, meaning that if you leave your laptop unattended at the library and you go out and get a meal and come back, someone might walk away with your laptop. So you should always stay with your laptop. It's a good idea for you to keep your room and your house door locked and to keep track of your personal belongings. Be aware of your surroundings, and when walking at night, it's best to walk in groups if possible. Now, they're just smart things to do, and when you get to campus, you'll learn more about our van shuttle that you can take late at night to get around. If you are out late at night, we have options for that. Safety is something we take very seriously on our campus. Our community is served by 2 police departments. One is the Miami University Police Department, which covers campus itself, and the other is the Oxford Police Department, which covers the Oxford. Now, these 2 departments work closely together, and they all care about the well-being of our students. Now, remember, the police are here to help. So anytime you feel unsafe, or if you're involved in an accident or an incident with another student, you should always call the police instead of trying to handle it on your own. They will help you. All right, a few more slides on campus and community. This one is about policies. So there are several sources in this list of policies for life on campus. And I'll ask Molly to include these in the next newsletter so you can click them and get to them. And if you violate a policy, you'll be held accountable even if you don't know the policy. So it's important for you to read through and understand these policies. This slide shows the links to 3 sources of the policies. The top one is the Miami Policy Library. And once you get to that, you'll see it's a lot of policies that includes faculty and staff and everything about the university. If you scroll down, you'll come to a section that's about students, and you should review that section. The second 2 links are smaller lists of policies, and those cover all the policies about living on campus, the residence halls, and what's allowed and permitted in the residence halls. I'm not going to spend any more time on that. There's a lot of policies, but there are 3 that I want to draw your attention to. The first is it's illegal to purchase or drink alcohol until a person is 21 years old. That's a state law in the state of Ohio. That means that students cannot have alcohol in their room if they are under 21. There are serious penalties if students get caught with alcohol underage. So its best plan is to not drink alcohol in any residence hall. Students can face suspension if they violate the alcohol policy. The second policy is smoking. Smoking is prohibited everywhere on campus, inside the buildings, outside of the buildings. Anytime you're in or on campus, you may not smoke cigarettes or use e-cigarettes, the vaping. And this is a bigger adjustment for many students who are from countries where smoking is still popular and accepted, because smoking has declined in popularity among United States students. Students could be fined for smoking anywhere on campus, indoors or outdoors, and multiple smoking violations could lead to suspension from the university. So spread this around to your friends that you can't smoke on campus. And if you're a smoker and you want to stop, we have treatment that can help you start to stop smoking, and so you're smoke free as well. And then the last policy that we've had some confusion from our international students is related to guns and other weapons. While it is legal to own a weapon in the United States with the right permits, there are absolutely no weapons permitted on campus, anywhere on campus. I just wanted to mention that so we're clear. There are many other rules that you'll learn when you move to campus, but these are the ones that we wanted to highlight. Okay, you've heard me talk for a while. I'm going to start to review some of the questions while Beth continues by talking about health and safety.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm excited that you guys are all here. And yes, just as Molly and Rob said, my name is Beth. I am the interim director here at the Student Health Center. And I also am one of the nurse practitioners here. So there's a chance you may just see me in the clinic too. So here at Miami, we really promote mental and physical health. It's a very important piece of being successful here at Miami. We have 4 great kind of health-centered resources available. Obviously, the Health Services Center here, you can see a physician, a nurse practitioner for any health concern. It's on campus. It's located on Harris Drive, which you'll get the tour and whatnot. You can be seen here for sick visits, wellness visits, preventative care, or the immunizations as well. Since the clinic is not open every single day on campus, Oxford does have a urgent care that's available on the weekends with a little bit longer hours. And then for emergencies, there is an hospital in Oxford. It's called McCullough Hyde, and it's open 24 hours, 7 days a week. Student counseling is another great resource that Miami's offers. It's transitioning to college is not an easy feat. Counseling is a great resource to help students not only transition to Miami, but also offer services to help with stress, anxiety, depression, homesickness, relationship concerns, and any other mental health concern. Counseling does have a full-time counselor who's a native speaker of Mandarin, and they do have other cultural considerations as well. The Recreation Center, it has been proven exercise is a great way to mentally de-stress. It promotes mental and physical health. Here is where you can walk, run on the track, use cardio equipment, participate in weightlifting, and then potentially join other group sports such as badminton, basketball, any other kind of group fitness. Then the Office of Student Wellness is available to all students. So this is your primary go-to for overall holistic wellness. It offers a wealth of resources to make sure that your needs are being met, and it also offers some great educational resources and health promotion while at college. Go ahead to the next one. There. All right, so all Miami University students are required to have health insurance. Pretty much every single student is mandated to, just because healthcare in the United States is a little bit different. It is a little bit pricier, so we like to have coverage to make sure that you're able to afford healthcare and stay healthy. Without insurance, some medications, doctor visits, and other medical procedures can cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Hopefully we don't get there. But we have Aetna available for all of our international students. And one of the toughest things to understand is that even though we purchase insurance, when you come see one of the clinics or any healthcare facility, it doesn't cover it completely. You're still going to have to owe some sort of money. And sometimes that's due at the beginning of the visit, and then sometimes you'll just get billed later. International students, like I said, can go through Aetna. It's a great insurance plan. It covers the entire health clinic. Small portion you'll have to pay, and then it also goes to our outlying facilities within the Oxford community. We're owned by the same entity, which is TriHealth. All right, so immunizations. I know you guys are going to have lots of questions about vaccines, and I have responded to some of you, but just keep the questions coming. Immunizations, we require proof of vaccinations, and there are some that are mandatory. Tdap, B, MMR, varicella, polio, and then the meningococcal ones are the ones that are mandated. COVID vaccine is not mandated at this time, but it is highly recommended just to promote overall safe and healthy Miami community. And I will get to those COVID vaccine questions here in a little bit. Stay tuned. Students have the option of obtaining the vaccinations before coming to the US, but then you will also have the ability to come to us. We will do a document check. We'll make sure that your vaccines are up to date. And if they aren't, we're able to give the vaccines in our clinic and then call you back if it requires more than one vaccine. You should, okay, I think, yeah, next. All right, so it is very important that you all have that international certificate of vaccination, yellow book. And if you don't have that specific one, make sure that you bring all of your immunizations translated to English, because otherwise there's no way that we can validate or verify them. And as long as they are not self-translated and are signed off by the person who translated the documents for you, we will accept that when you come in for the doc check. You have the option of completing that immunization certificate form, bringing it to orientation. You can bring it to the health clinic when we do the document check. But they're, once again, required vaccinations that if you haven't had by the time you come to campus, you'll be able to complete them here. All right, so all high-risk international students must complete a required TB test, and this is a blood test, so make sure that you come with short sleeves and you drink lots of water beforehand. But it is for high-burden countries, and the CDC has that on their website as to which one will help you with that, and we'll let you know if you fall underneath that category. Before coming here, make sure that if you are under the age of 18, you'll have to sign that parental consent form. And basically, you'll have to hand that in person. So make sure you and your guardian fill that out before coming. Just it makes it a lot smoother, a lot more seamless transition. That will also translate into anytime you see the health clinic. So it's once you fill it out, you're done. All right, so MedProctor, just as I was talking about, there's that immunization certificate form that you can have that Miami provides. That form is what's going to be uploaded into MedProctor. MedProctor is a unique tool that Miami uses. It records all of your vaccinations and allows us to sign it off saying you're good before you even get here too. Uploading documents is as easy as uploading a photo on social media. You just take a picture when you're completed and it's signed at the bottom by the healthcare provider. Upload it, just click upload, it'll download, and then we will review it. Our staff will review it to make sure everything is compliant and you're not needing anything extra. Okay, so COVID vaccines. So COVID vaccine, like I said, is not mandatory. However, it is highly recommended. Being vaccinated prior to campus will allow for a smooth transition and the ability to avoid COVID surveillance testing in the fall, which I'll get to in a little bit. So currently, Miami University is accepting the WHO-approved vaccines, the AstraZeneca, Covishield, Sinopharm, and then if you're vaccinated with one of the emergency use authorized in the United States, the Pfizer, Moderna, or the Johnson & Johnson, or Janssen, as some people know it as. So the WHO-approved vaccine benefits you still by having to avoid surveillance testing, but if you have an exposure to someone on campus who has COVID, you will still be asked to quarantine for 14 days just because of the difference in where you got the vaccine. If you have one of the other emergency use authorized in the US, Moderna, Pfizer, or Janssen, you will not have to quarantine. And the only time that you have to isolate for 10 days is when you actually have a positive test of COVID. We will offer free vaccinations to those incoming students on August 22nd at Millette Hall. So we're having a big mass vaccination clinic, and that's one of our least busiest days. And I think the best day that we can just kind of get to everyone who wants one. And yes, if you have started one of your vaccines that we don't have, as in AstraZeneca or the Covishield or Sinopharm, if you've received one dose in your home country, then yes, you can restart here but it has to be at least 2 weeks after your last dose. So yes, it doesn't matter, but we won't be able to continue your series if you have one of those three. We only have Moderna, Pfizer, or Johnson & Johnson. And specifically at the free vaccination clinic, we would have, it's not 100% sure, but it will likely be Pfizer. And so if you have a Pfizer vaccine and you meet the timeline, we could even finish your second dose on that Sunday. Otherwise, for the second dose options, currently in our clinic, we do not have access. It's a very long process that we've been kind of fighting with our state legislature to do. We should have some vaccines in our clinic by the fall, but as of right now, if you want to finish one of the doses or start one of the doses, then you can go to many different on-site, or not on-site, but many different clinics within walking distance in the Miami community. And we can help provide you with some of those resources if you have questions about that when you guys come in for your doc check. All right, so arriving to campus. So when you come to campus, it is obviously CDC recommended within 3 to 5 days that you have that follow-up COVID test. Yes, you can get that done in the Student Health Center. You can call our office line. It's 513-529-3000. You would make an appointment with us. We would get you tested, and we would just ask you to stay in your dorm until you get your results. And then as soon as you're negative, then you're good to go. Surveillance and wide net testing is Miami's way of controlling any surges or outbreaks of COVID. And so asymptomatic random students are asked to surveil if they're unvaccinated, just so that way we can keep the numbers down and our community safe. Wide net testing also kind of just sums that all up, and we'll just test if we need to based upon specific needs on the campus. Contact tracing is done just to help keep the surge down as well. So if you test positive or have an exposure, you would likely get a call from Miami and just say, hey, who have you been around? What classes have you been in? Just so that they can start informing the other students if they need to quarantine or isolate. Facial coverings right now. So it is asked if you're unvaccinated, no matter what, you wear a mask at all times just to help prevent the spread. If you are fully vaccinated and are comfortable, then there are times throughout campus where you don't have to wear a mask and can also socially distance. They're currently deciding what they want to do for in classes. They don't have an exact answer or what to do yet. I do believe they're just waiting on to see how many people are vaccinated, but look out on the Miami website page. You can always ask one of us if there's any updates on as far as wearing masks in the classroom. But I had someone's note written down. If you have one vaccine, or if you don't have a vaccine, yes, you can still participate in classes. You can still go to classes. You just have to wear that mask. Hand washing, still the best way and the most effective way, thanks Rob, that you can prevent illness and the spread of illness. So wash vigorously for 20 seconds and you will do yourself a huge favor along with everyone else.
Okay, we've just covered a lot. Beth, there are a handful of questions in the chat for you. So if you want to kind of scroll down, Molly, maybe you can help prompt Beth and I on questions that we haven't answered yet.
Yeah, it's been very active. So I have to admit, there's a few I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to start way at the top, though. Beth, I believe you have probably responded to some of those early ones that came in from Prachi and Fatima. Yes. I'm going to scroll down just a bit.
And I addressed her questions, so I don't know if you want me to say, but her questions I addressed, and their questions just make sure you can attend class. Yes, you can still get a second dose, and yes, we can offer the 3 to 5 day test. So
Molly, we have a participant, Ding Bin, who wants to unmute and ask her question verbally. So please go ahead.
Okay, sure.
Hello, and I'm sorry because I lost my connection during the explanation for the immunization forms. I just wanted to make sure that instead of the yellow book that you mentioned for the immunization records, can I bring a form that that was provided by the health official who filled the form for the Miami immunization form? Can I bring the form because on that form that they provided me, there are still records of those vaccines that I have taken. can it be an alternative form to, to bring to Miami
Yes,
for immunization?
absolutely. We would 100% take that. And we even take those med proctor, or the vaccination forms, as long as there's some sort of official signature or stamp, knowing that it's an official document. So any way that you can show that you have those vaccines and have like a stamp of approval, bring them on in.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay. I think before we take any other questions verbally, I do want to go through the ones in the chat just to make sure that we've hit all of those. Rob, have you said what the deadline for changing the meal plan is already?
No, I have not, and I have to look into that. Give me a
Okay,
second.
that was from E, asking when is the deadline for changing the meal plan. Lots of conversation about hamburgers, and then scrolling down. Let's see. I know we answered about the ID card. There was a question. Jordan asked about the LLC. You said we would be told what room we would get, but I chose my room and already know who my roommate is. Did I make a mistake?
No, but let's do this. Whoever wrote that, why don't you email me and we'll make sure that we're all on the same page. My email address is right here, abawitrn@miamioh.edu.
Okay.
And just email me and we'll chat on the side. Most
Jordan.
people have not picked their room and have not picked their roommate. So I'll work with you to figure out what's going on.
Did we talk about what kind of optional activities will be offered during Welcome Weekend?
No, optional activities will include things like a tour of campus, will include workshops with the Career Center and meetings with your academic unit. There'll be optional service projects if you want to do something that helps our community. There will be optional meetings with other service centers, like the Ranella Learning Center will have an optional meet and greet. So there are a bunch of things. And when you get to campus, we will share that schedule with you. It'll all be clear, and there's an app that lists all of the events.
Thank you. To respond to Kazuma Sakaguchi, you asked, can I take classes even if I have not received the vaccine of hepatitis B yet? Yes, you will be scheduled to receive your vaccines by the health center when you go there for your medical document check. Correct me if I've said anything wrong, Beth, but yes, that does not prevent you from going to class. And let's see, how much do vaccines cost, like the hepatitis B? Are those fully covered?
Yes, so that is part of preventative care with our insurance. So yeah, you won't have to pay a copay, you won't have to pay a deductible, nothing. It's part of preventative health, our way of keeping everyone safe and healthy. So yes, completely free of charge for you.
Okay, great.
And that's all vaccines, sorry. All mandatory required vaccines are free.
Thank you. So we have a student asking several questions, and this one, I don't think there's a black and white answer, but I'm going to ask one or both of you to answer. Since vaccinations are not mandatory, is it COVID safe?
Yes, so we will make sure that everything is socially distanced. Those who are not vaccinated wear a mask. And it will, I mean, it's not just we're going to let you guys out with everyone. We'll make sure that it's done in a safe and effective manner.
And then the student also asked, do we have to wear masks during the event? I think he's referring to like Mega Fair. Is Miami's expectation just that unvaccinated individuals will continue to wear masks?
It is the expectation that if you are not vaccinated, that you continue to wear a mask. The difficulty is that we can't ask everybody, are you vaccinated? It's part of the current law in Ohio. So it's really self-enforced. If you are not vaccinated, bring your mask, wear your mask. I got a nice mask here. You can't borrow it. You got to bring your own. And you've got to wear masks. So at that big event, Mega Fair, you're probably going to see some students wearing a mask, but most students will be vaccinated and most students will not have a mask on.
Okay. Thank you. Is the TB test free? I actually can't remember if there's a cost for the TB test with insurance.
No, I don't think no, there isn't, just because it's a requirement and it's CDC recommendations. So no, you won't have to worry about the TB
Okay.
test. I will 100% verify before you guys come in here, but 99% will be, yeah.
Okay. A student is asking, they say they have received the varicella COVID vaccine. It's sounding to me like that is not one that is currently accepted because it is not approved by the WHO.
Correct.
So if you would like to be, I guess, exempt from the required testing and quarantine and be considered fully vaccinated, you would want to start over here with a Pfizer or Moderna or Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Let's see. Oh, sorry, some of that one was already responded to. Scrolling down is the so the HPV vaccine is also covered.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's see. Do we have to carry the COVID vaccination proof around campus?
No, because
no, but
like Rob said, we can't technically ask you to prove that you're vaccinated or not. You know, we're gonna take your guys' own goodwill and hope that you're being honest about it. At this point in time, you don't have to require, but I would recommend that anytime you see the health center, bring it with you, because that's going to be one of our automatic questions.
Okay, that's good to know. So Diksha Gulati asked, will we be tested and required to quarantine on arrival to campus, even if we have been vaccinated by a WHO approved vaccine?
So you won't have to quarantine on that part. We still want you to do the 3 to 5 day test, and you can come into the health center. You can call the health center to make that appointment, but we would just require you to test in the meantime. And I guess to perfectly answer that question, if you get tested, quarantine until you get the test result, which is likely the next day.
Okay, and yeah, we may want to follow up with you about that, Beth, because that could impact our orientation schedule of events. So I'm asking this myself. So all even fully vaccinated individuals are, I guess, encouraged to get tested, or are certain students going to be required to be tested and then others it's optional, or I'm still a little unclear on that.
Yeah. So the CDC does recommend that anyone traveling internationally does get a viral test within 3 to 5 days, regardless of their vaccination status. However, I will say that would be for the WHO vaccinations, but if they have one of the emergency use authorized ones, the Pfizer, Moderna, Janssen, then I would not say that's mandatory.
And if they are not vaccinated, then are they required to be tested before they can, even move into their residence hall, or?
So the kind of the benefit of the doubt with that one is that we know they're going to have that negative viral test before they come on the plane. So as long as they wear the masks on the plane and safe as possible, I just wear a mask until you get that follow-up COVID test.
Okay.
Does that answer?
Yes, I think that's a little bit different than what I had originally expected. So thank you for that information. Now I've lost track a little bit. Let's see. Will the campus clinic have the Moderna vaccine on August 22nd? It sounds like you expect it to be Pfizer. You're not 100% sure, but Pfizer is what we're expecting.
Yes. And
okay.
We'll honestly probably know that the second week of August, or honestly the week before we get it. Right, though.
And again, correct me if I'm wrong on anything, but there are many providers that offer the COVID vaccine.
Yes.
Kroger, Walgreens, CVS. There's probably others in town. I don't know if Walmart does, probably. So you don't have to go through Miami. If you happen to have received 1 dose of Moderna and you have the documentation of that and want to see if you can try to get the second dose of Moderna, you could check with one of those other off-campus providers. It's pretty easy now to get the COVID vaccine because it's slowed down so much in terms of the number of people going to get vaccinated. So a lot of them offer just walk in. You don't even necessarily have to schedule an appointment, but you may want to check in advance if you need a specific, Moderna, for example, or Pfizer, to see what they're offering. let's see. Do I still need to bring my immunization certificate to campus if I've already submitted it through MedProctor?
Yes. So yes, you will, because you'll have to get the document check done in the office. And for as many students that are coming and for as fast as you guys want to get out, if you have that ready to go when you walk in, don't even put it away in a book bag or anything. Just have it ready to go at all times in the health center. We'll get you out as quick as possible. And we won't have to look it up in MedProctor because we honestly can't do that for every student. So yes, please bring it.
Okay, so do bring your immunization records and certificates, yellow book, whatever you have, even if you've submitted it through MedProctor already. Prachi, you were asking, just to confirm, upon getting tested on the 3rd day after arrival and the test is negative, are we mandatorily required to further quarantine? No.
Nope.
If the test is negative, you would not be required or expected to quarantine. When are we going to pay the tuition? Slightly different question, but you won't have your full bill until you are until you are registered for classes. And I believe international students are typically given until the 1st day of classes to pay their bill. I don't know if anyone has anything to add about that, Yuanon or Rob or okay. Let's see. Oh, Carol had already responded to that one. Sorry. Let's see. Oh, about health insurance. So international students are required to enroll in student health insurance, but do we need to enroll by ourselves? No. Once you are enrolled in classes, you will be automatically enrolled in the Aetna student insurance and billed for it in probably late August. So you don't need to take any proactive action. You will be automatically enrolled in it. So a student is asking if they're arriving in the US on the 3rd of August, I presume. Will I still have to get tested after arrival on campus, arriving on campus on the 12th?
So if you're able to complete that follow-up COVID test before the 12th, and you can show that you were negative, then that would be fine. I'm not sure if I 100% understand, but you would only be asked to do another test if you didn't get it done. But
okay. So they should wherever they're going to be from, beginning on the 3rd, they should try to get tested there 3 to 5 days after arrival.
And I mean, our health center's open. So, and as of August, you guys should all be enrolled in the health insurance. So you can still come on campus and get tested. You don't have to wait till classes start. We are open now.
Yeah. If I get a positive COVID test, can I attend the orientation and classes in some way? So we are currently discussing what that will look like. I mean, I think the short answer is yes, we will figure out a way for you to get the necessary information that you need for orientation. Actually, much of that is being offered through the Canvas modules. Much of what we're doing during our in-person orientation is kind of a review of a lot of that, as well as things like campus tours, and then some fun and social activities and small groups to foster connections. So, I mean, we'll make sure you have the necessary information. Unfortunately, you would miss out on, the in-person events and activities. In terms of classes, I mean, I don't know if there's a specific protocol on this that Rob can speak to, but I imagine it would mean letting your professors know, like, I will not be able to, physically attend class for X number of days. And I believe faculty are being told that they need to accommodate to that based on the need for some students to quarantine, and that they will figure out a way to get the class material to you so that you can do the work and catch up or stay up to date on your classes. Is there a checklist of things we should have on arrival to school? I think something like that may be coming in our an upcoming newsletter. Is that fair to say, Yuanon?
Yes, we will share that, and I did post a link in the chat already. It's just our pre-arrival checklist, including the vaccination records. Make sure you get your ID. Make sure you're registered and that kind of stuff. So you can check out that link, and of course, keep an eye on the newsletter. We will mention that again.
So again, can we get the immunization vaccines once we get to the university? Yes. So any vaccines that you don't have yet that are required, you will be able to obtain at the health center for free of charge. The Aetna student health insurance covers those fully, so there will not be a charge for that. Beth, will the immunization form be accepted only with a signature but without an official stamp?
If that signature has some type of credentials at the end of it, yes, we just have to make sure that we can differentiate it between a self-translated signature or an actual official. So as long as there's some way that we can say, yes, this is an official translation, then yes.
And then a question is getting the COVID vaccine upon arrival to campus before orientation begins an option? I'm going to wager a guess that they would have to do that off campus, or is there any chance that you'd be offering it earlier than August 22nd?
Right now, we don't have any other vaccination clinics planned, but yes, it is very readily available here in the Oxford community. You will not have a problem getting in anywhere, getting a vaccine.
Yeah,
Like I
you
said,
remember that picture of Kroger, the supermarket that's on the bus line? That's a 15-minute walk from campus. You can walk in today to Kroger and get a vaccine.
Yes. Yes. Kroger, Walgreens, CVS, readily available on a walk-in basis. So yes. I think we're getting close to the end here, and I know we're actually a couple minutes over. So again, about paying tuition, your bill won't be officially due until the first day of classes. Do we have any more information coming out about paying a bill, Yuanon? There seem to be several questions, or Carol.
I looked it up on One Stop. They are preparing fall bills right now. And so the payment portal won't be visible until July 20th.
Okay.
So students right now have been asking a lot of questions about not seeing their bill, and it's because they shut it down while they prepare all the bills. So
Okay.
I put a link in my message and it takes you to the announcement for that.
Thank you. Thank you. So if you are, registered in classes, let's say by July 20th, then you should be able to see your bill starting on that date, but you should have until the first day of classes to pay it. It sounds like we are going to be sharing the recorded version of this. Yes, Yuanon? So via email.
Yes, we will send the registrants the recording link, and we're also sharing our next orientation newsletter.
There is a question about the parking policy for undergraduate students. Rob, I believe there are 1 or 2 free parking lots, but they're like a ways. Can you speak to that?
Those lots, the information about the fees for those lots are on the parking website. And again, it's not a lot that's near your residence hall. It's a short walk away, and it's a big parking lot with hundreds of cars. So I would look on the parking website. It looks like Dan has posted it there, and that'll tell you. So there's not a lot of free parking in Oxford. It's not that expensive, but still, you want to make sure you register your car.
Yeah, we pay for parking as well as staff. It's way early up on the questions. I saw somebody had asked where they can buy a car. I think I skipped over that one, but at a car dealership. So I don't have a lot of information about that myself, but
yeah,
you might need to.
Most students do not buy a car when they come to campus. There is one small dealership in Oxford, but otherwise you have to drive down to Cincinnati or get a ride with someone down to Cincinnati, and there are dealerships down there.
Yes. And then to echo Carol regarding this question about spam emails regarding tuition payment, please be very careful. You will get an email from Miami University, miamioh.edu, telling you that you can access your bill. And then you do that through the My Miami web portal. Any other email about tuition or paying your bill, could be fraudulent or some kind of scam or spam. So do please be careful with that. You will only access and pay your bill through the My Miami website or by following the instructions on the One Stop website.
I just posted that because there's a really big link that'll take you right through to paying your tuition that's on the front page of the One Stop homepage. And it's called One Stop because, like you've heard, registrar, payment of bills, transcripts, all of that is in that location.
Yes.
Molly, I got an answer to our question about meal plans. Students can change their meal plans up until the beginning of the semester when they arrive. So right now you can change your meal plan choice, and you would do that through the housing portal. So go to miamioh.edu/housing and then look for the housing portal. And then you can go in there and change your account. And if there's any questions about that, you would email the Campus Services Center.
And so then again, the question that just came in about getting COVID tested. So I think to reiterate again what Beth has said, the CDC recommendation is that yes, you do get tested within 3 to 5 days after international travel. If you are arriving to Cincinnati, you could look into a location to get tested there. I'm sure there are numerous plentiful options of places to get tested. And so, yes, you could do that in Cincinnati, for example, and stay there until our orientation begins on August 13th. And I guess once again, to clarify, Beth, students will not be able to get the COVID vaccine on campus until August 22nd. At least that's our understanding right now.
Correct. Yes. If something changes, we'll make sure that we get the information out. But the first time that we would actually be able to give a vaccine is the 22nd. That's the only day so far. And then we would, because it is a follow-up. So on the 22nd, you would, like I said, most likely get Pfizer. So then you would plan to get the second vaccine on the, calendar, 1, 2, 3, the 12th of September. And yes, it's something that we would hold another vaccine clinic, whether that would be at Millette or Armstrong or some of the other facilities, we'll let you know. But if it's a 2-step, then you'll definitely have to come the 22nd and then the 12th.
Because that's 21 days later.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. That's everything that I have seen come through. Lots of good questions. I know we're a bit over our scheduled time. We will send out this recording. If there's any updated or new information, we will send that out via email through our newsletter or another email. But otherwise, you're certainly always welcome to email us with questions. If they are very COVID specific, we might be sending those along to Beth in the health center to make sure we get accurate answers and information. But otherwise, we do appreciate everybody attending and all of your good questions today. I know it's complicated and a bit stressful, so we're trying to help alleviate some of that and make sure you are prepared. So with that, I think we'll call this the end of this session. And thanks to our speakers, thanks to everybody who helped answer questions. And we very much look forward to seeing you all here in August.